happy today. I am William Brown from IamWilliamBrown.com, and this is Disconnect to Connect One Word Conversations. This is the moment where I talk about our sponsor, which is I Am William Brown, where you can find items and have conversations that helps you be yourself and to live your life. The one item that I spotlight most often is the U cards that helps you set intentions. So your intention for the day, I use it to set intentions for today. And there's also a game component to it that you can get and enjoy. But I use it for the show to set our intentions for the show. In my I am card, it is I am seen. My you are card is you are enough. And my quote card is I think you should just do it. So, with the intention set for today's conversation, I will bring in our word. Our word is wellness. So, with wellness in mind, and we have been having a number of conversations this week about wellness because wellness is our word. I get to talk to another friend and we'll see how wellness is showing up for them. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. How are you?
I am doing great. This is the moment where I invite my guests to introduce themselves however it feels comfortable to them.
Sounds good. Well, my name is Traci Newkirk. I am co-owner of a company called Intellectual Capital, and it is a staffing, software, and consulting company. I've been in business for 17 years, but my love is cultivating growth in others to set people free from unhealthy thinking. So that
Mm.
is my love, and it inspires me and gives me great energy. And then the CEO part pays the bills.
Right, I got that. You know, I'm still working on the other part right now, and I just enjoy having these conversations and empowering people. And it's like, well, we'll figure out the bills and all the account stuff later. But with all of that, how does the word wellness show up for you?
Um, well, it's interesting because you mentioned I am seen as an intention. And I think that if I am not careful, the I am seen for me can get out of hand. And that's where
Mm,
wellness comes in.
right.
Um,
Wow.
and so, wellness for me is just this ability to be a good steward.
Hmm.
What does it look like to be a good steward of my physical body, of my finances, of my emotions, of my community?
Right.
Um, what does it look like? And I think that good steward, that ability to self correct, that ability to self regulate, is kind of a good explanation for me of what wellness looks like.
No, I totally get that. I mean, it's for me, most of the times, wellness was just fitness, or wellness was just my thinking and everything like that. So to really um, embrace and kind of look at this the stewardness of your life and your things that are part of your life and everything is just another way of looking at it. And so I appreciate that framework. That is something that I enjoy about these conversations, that you go into it and it's like, oh, this is what I think about this, and it's like, wow, I guess there's a lot more that's available to me. Is that something that it took some time for you to kind of embrace the stewardship of wellness?
I think, oh, I definitely think so. I would say about 7 years ago, I went on a self awareness journey.
Hmm. Got it.
And during that self awareness journey, I looked at things like what are my values? What motivates me? What do I do best? It seems a little late because I'm in my 50s, right? But hey, you're better late than never.
Right,
Um,
absolutely.
and so that I guess that's kind of even that ability to learn from in my own way also inspires me to help other people at the same time kind of discover that. And I agree that most of the time when people think wellness, they think physical wellness or financial wellness.
Right,
And I think sometimes it's the one sidedness that can also get us in trouble.
right. Look, I started on this self, awareness journey, in my late 40s, and there's been a lot of stops and starts because on that discovery road, it's like, oh crap, I didn't know that was there. It's like I don't right, it's like, so it's like, okay, stop, right, all that other kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and then you kind of go back at it. But it has been a um, a level of awareness, what I call an actionable awareness of myself, that
Hmm.
I can stay present and can be available to other people. And so that's why I love what a good part of what you do is helping other people, shine and show up in their life. And the only way I believe that we can do that is to have an awareness of ourselves.
Hmm.
If we don't know that for ourselves, we can't be available to other people to show up for them and to help them to do that. And I think a large part of that is wellness, right? And because the more that I understand or appreciate where I am mentally, or how I'm showing up physically or something, or my finances, or different things, that level of wellness will cause me to show up or not show up. you
Hmm.
know
Hmm.
and so really looking at my wellness as not just a barometer, but a way to kind of gauge what areas need my attention,
Hmm.
how I can, like you were saying before, be a good steward of
Hmm.
what I currently have.
Hmm. Now, I think many people might equate wellness and happiness together.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I think wellness maybe can lead to happiness.
Right.
But I've started to also believe that happiness might can help lead to wellness too. And I'll tell you what I
Hmm.
mean. During this time, this season in our lives, I'm looking for loopholes. Like, what can I do? I know there's a bunch
Right.
of stuff I can't do, but what
Right.
can I
Right.
do? Um, and I've never been a boater. I've never known how to drive a boat. I never owned a boat. But we realized that boating is something that we can do right now. So we signed up and went and took a class, and we've
Hmm.
started to rent a boat each week, right?
Wow.
And so as I'm out on that boat this weekend and I'm sitting there watching the sunset, no makeup, phones put away. I don't know what the local news is. I don't know what the COVID numbers look like. There was an incredible sense of happiness for me,
Wow.
and peace. And I thought when I got back in the car how much that contributed to my wellness, right?
Wow. Right.
Um, so I think it can be both. I think happiness could also lead to wellness, and I
Right.
think being intentional with our self awareness and self correction could also lead to more happiness.
Right. No, I totally get it. I was like the loopholes. I was like when you said I was like loophole, because I'm a law and order guy myself, right? So it's like, okay, what can I do, right? Right, right. It's like, but I think like you were saying, we're in this season of there are all the things that we can't do. We're going to have to figure out what we can do, right? What we can, how can we be well? How can we be happy? And I think in some cases, without getting on a soapbox, I think that's what's missing in our conversations and some of our leaders' communication
Mm-hmm.
is really giving us that way forward or helping us figure out. We just get the dire numbers, or we get, you can't do this, you can't do that. And I've said on a couple shows, in the past that I think some of the challenges that we're having with our wellness or feeling that everything is well, right,
Mm-hmm.
is the language that we're using of reopening.
Mm-hmm.
If we just said we are opening, but here are how we can be safe with this opening, I think it's a totally different mindset, at least for me. But the reopening, for me, says, okay, we're opening up the same way. I can't figure out how, we just reopened, but there's a lot of other things I have to deal with now that I have to figure out for myself. Yeah, it's way beyond the mass. It's way beyond if I can hug people or give them a handshake or all that kind of stuff. All of these things that I have to be mindful about
Mm-hmm.
that I wasn't. I just kind of just went through my day, went to networking places, went did business and did all these things, and then it just closed, right? And so now, really questioning, am I well?
Mm-hmm.
Is my city well? Are relationships well? Looking at people, are you well? Right? Right? It's like you don't know, and it's just it's really interesting to find those loopholes, as you say, that what can I do? And finding those things so we can stay connected to our wellness is very important.
And it is a mindset.
Hmm.
And so it's about the mindset of focusing on the can rather than the can't.
Right.
And I do think that the mindset can help get you to wellness and can get you to some happiness
Right.
within the constraints of what's safe. So,
Right.
and that's why I
Right.
think wellness is not just this FOMO, right? It's not just, I'm going to do whatever I'm going to do that makes me happy. I think there's still some a good stewardship there, some self stewardship, because
Right.
I'm on a boat with my husband, but nobody else is around. So
Right.
it's still safe. And I went and took a class and I learned how to boat, and so it was still safe.
Right.
Um, so that's why I think for me it's that self stewarding that's important about wellness.
Right. Yeah, I think really there was a conversation that I had. Um, I think it was within the wellness conversation this week about the discipline, right? The intentions and discipline of wellness, to really recognize that there is something to kind of look at and kind of say, where am I going to be responsible in this? Where am I going to be intentional about, my wellness, and kind of be aware of that? That sometimes, I don't know about you, but when I talk about fitness for myself, it's like, all of a sudden I look down and go, geez, how did I magically get all these pounds, right? It's like, dude, there were a lot of things happening that caused that to happen.
Mhm.
And it's like, and so the more that I wasn't aware, or wasn't intentional, or didn't have discipline, it caused me to be not well.
Mhm.
Caused me to not, be a good steward of that. And it's so there is that level of, intentionality,
Mhm.
to really make sure that things happen.
Mhm. And I would add, so I'll keep the logo away because it's not
Right.
about the
Okay.
logo. But one
Right.
of my wellness intentions during COVID is that I would drink two of these a day. Right?
Right.
Oh goodness, it's a 34-ounce bottle.
Right.
And again, I'm at my desk a lot, right? So I said I'll drink one before noon and one before 5 o'clock for dinner. And I won't count lunch water and dinner water. But that's a way that I've been self stewarding my wellness physically.
Right.
And there is this loophole that comes in that I'm at home and I can fill up my bottle. And so that's that mindset shift and what that looks like. So
Right.
um, since we were talking about physical, there is a way that I can be even intentional right now.
Right. No, I have challenges with with water.
Me too.
It's like
Okay, me too.
it's like I know it's needed. I know people want say this important, but it's like really, it's like after after 16 ounces, it's like oh, I have so much more. But it's like I said, it has to be intentional and until I realize for myself that it is helping with my wellness, it's I believe that it will make a difference, then I'm going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, it is like I said, it is definitely something that there's a mindfulness in. There is something that we have to do to kind of to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I
And
think like you were saying, it does go back to the stewardship.
mhm,
It all comes back to the stewardship.
mhm. And I think, there's I looked it up. I want to make sure that I'm saying this correctly. So there's a difference between health and wellness.
Okay.
I think health is a state of being, and I think wellness is a state of a living. So it's
Hmm.
more active. Um,
Right.
and that's why I use the waters idea, because wellness for me can be the active art of trying to be more hydrated.
Right. Wow. Okay.
Because my health, I'm terrible at water. I mean, terrible.
Hmm.
I have the apps. I
Right.
even bought a glass one time that lights up to tell me to drink. I mean, I'm
Right.
terrible. I would
Right.
prefer a soda or an unsweet tea or sweet tea or lemonade or anything besides water.
Right.
But since I started, I've been home a remote since March 16th. Since I started this, I've cut out all the soda and all the tea because this is what I'm desiring now.
Right. Wow. So it's there's a discipline, there's a habit, there is consistency. There's all of those things that show up in our wellness.
Mhm.
And so now, do you feel like you're missing anything, or just there's so many benefits that it's like okay, I'm fine without all of that other stuff.
I don't. It's weird. They say that habits change your life. Manage your
Right.
habits, and you change your life.
Right. I've heard that. Right.
I do feel like that my goal of the water was to just drink more water. But I think
Right.
there's this alternative goal that has happened, and that I've stopped craving and I don't have the desire anymore for something else. And I think when the desire leaves, um, I feel less like I'm missing something.
Hmm. Wow. And so yeah, and that's a state of wellness. That's the living part of that, and that's wow. And that's like too often there's a lot of conversations that we have and words that we interchange, right? So wellness and health, health and wellness, or
Mm-hmm.
wellness means this and all that kind of stuff. And the more that we're able to separate the two and realize where one leaves off, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one gives us action and movement and causes us to um, I think like you were saying, that will bring you happiness, right? Because the more well we are, right, the more that we connect to our wellness, and it's a result of these activities, we can live a happier life. We
Mm-hmm.
can live a fulfilled life. We can, and all those other things that hmm, I'm just really there's a number of things that that I'm getting from this conversation, because like I said, you just even recognize that for myself that within these conversations, words don't just come with their definitions. They come with stories. They come with expectations and all that other kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wanted to come into these conversations with okay, this is my understanding, but by just some simple things that you said, it's kind of really shifted, and now it feels like it gives me access to being well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And looking for wellness in other areas of my life. in my finances, in not
Mhm.
just in my health. And so no, so it's great.
When I think a love for what you do every day
Hmm.
can look like wellness.
Right.
And that the fact that I own a staffing company, I think, leads me to say that, right?
Right.
Because what I find so often is that people don't love what they do every day,
Right.
and they look forward to the weekend, and then on Sunday night they have this regret and grief and a lack of wellness thinking about their Monday. And
Right.
if I could do anything to help people, I would love to see their Monday through Friday be something they look forward to just as much as their weekend.
Right. It's like I guess what's connected for me is your water example with how we show up in our work.
Mm-hmm.
If if drinking more water is just a have to, we'll do it, right? For a point, right? If just going to this job because we have to, but we hate it,
Mm-hmm.
we'll
Mm-hmm.
do it, and we might show up poorly in our in our job because of that, right? But if we look at this water as a part of contributing to our wellness and our happiness, and the same way within our work, then we'll show up differently within our work.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll find the joy in that. And so for me, I was able to connect those two because easily there are so many things that I say I want to do, like I say that I want to be healthy and well,
Mm-hmm.
but if it's just a have to instead of a want to,
Mm-hmm.
it's only going to happen for some time. and
Mm-hmm.
um, and really embracing wellness in my life, that's living. That is causing that. And if I embrace that, then I can continue to live in that. And why wouldn't I want to have wellness a part of that? So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
wow.
I I think wellness in organizations looks different too.
Hmm. Okay.
In an organization, I think wellness looks like having, I wouldn't say it's work life balance,
Mm-hmm.
right? I mean, that's an individual's job. That's not an organization's job. They can
Hmm.
provide opportunities for you to have work life balance, but still, it's your
Right.
job to self regulate or self correct or self advocate for yourself. But in an
Right.
organization, wellness looks like trust, stability, compassion, and hope. And I think
Right.
that is on the organization. What does it look like as a CEO or as a manager to provide trust, stability, compassion, and hope? And I
Right.
believe those items will bring wellness to an organization.
Right. Got it. No, I think that is um, I think that is so true. Sometimes when I've talked to organizations about my labels conversation and living beyond the labels and helping people bring their whole self to work and all of that, um, I've I was surprised with how many people, within the tech space or other places, they was like, hey, that's their responsibility. My responsibility, I'm paying them to kind of come complete and just do the job, right? And them missing their role that you were saying of creating an environment, creating a culture that supports wellness in their employees,
Mhm,
that helps us, as employees and those opportunities to be well at work, within in work.
mhm,
Too often, especially for me, from my experience in tech, I was feeling that I felt that I had to perform just as well as the technology. So if the server was up, I was up. If something was going on, I had to be there. And it was like, so there was this 24 hours feeling that I had to be engaged with the technology, and that wasn't causing me to show up well. I was drained, and I was kind of resentful because it's like, geez, I need to take a day off. I need to kind of recharge. And
Mm,
it was just like, the server is working or this gig or or something like that, so I have to perform at that level. And
mm,
I had managers and and owners kind of treat me as if I was the tech too, not recognizing that I had a family or I was sick, or all those other kind of things. And so, really creating that environment as the organization, what can an organization do to foster wellness? Not just have a wellness program, but have um, values and a mission to kind of encourage their employees to be well. I think that is that is definitely a responsibility of organizations,
mhm,
and it's something too often they kind of leave it just to the individual or the employee.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Yeah, and at the same time, I think it is the employee's responsibility to learn when to shut things down and when it's okay to
Mm,
walk away, right?
right. Mm-hmm.
But as a manager, I have five people that report to me directly, for instance, and I have some pretty high performers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll say to them, "Hey, I noticed you haven't taken a vacation in a while. I'd like for you to find some time in the next 60 days to take some time off."
Right.
And I
Right.
just said that last week. And she was like, "Okay, I think I might, my sister's coming in. I think I'm going to take next Thursday and Friday off." I was like, "Good. You deserve that."
Right.
And when you take it off, I want you to put away your phone and not check your email. And there's no emergency that's going to happen that you can't handle when you get back.
Right. Wow.
Because that looks like wellness for me caring about her. And I would consider that compassion, going
Right.
under that compassion, right?
Absolutely.
Um, but she still had to follow through with it, right?
Right. Absolutely. And there's so many times that I'll speak for myself that I talked myself out or didn't give myself permission to take those days off,
Mm-hmm.
to recharge, to feel like, yeah, I know that my boss said I need to or this is important, but you know, the last time I took a day off, I walked back to hell, so I'm not going to do that. And so whatever stories that I was telling myself at the time, but really keeping myself from being well or showing up fully in there. And so having you know even a manager or someone not just leave that door open, but kind of recognize. And I think that's the one thing that I like about what you said, but not just say, hey, find some time to take some time off. It's like, hey, within the next 60 days, right? Right, there's a time, this is when I believe that it was be important for you to kind of recharge and kind of do that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that then it goes like you said, the responsibility back to her to go, okay, where can I find that? Oh, my
Mm-hmm.
sister's coming. I can do, it's all that other kind of stuff you can see. And many times we don't look for those opportunities to take care of ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
because no one's asked us to look for those opportunities because we don't ask ourselves. We're just kind of just running, right? I'm just doing my life, and just kind of going from there. So no, I really get it within our responsibilities.
Do you know that
Um,
67% of people's PTO, individuals' PTO, they never take?
hmm, wow. You know,
67%.
I think in some cases I believe that, and I was like, huh, I am surprised that it's not higher, right? Because that mentality that we have that this is my job is my life, and then until it's not, right?
Mhm.
And
Until it's not. And that's
right,
and that's called therapy after that.
right, right. Well, I believe we can talk about this for hours, but that wouldn't be well, right? Right, that would be out that would be out of case. Is there anything that that you have got, because you've shared a lot of good pointers and observation. Is there anything that you would want to leave everyone with about wellness, or just think?
I would just, I guess, reiterate that change your habit, change your life.
Hmm.
And, wellness for some people can seem overwhelming because, there's 8 characteristics of wellness, and oh my gosh, I'm doing bad in 6 out of 7, and this feels so overwhelming. And
Right.
I would just say choose one thing.
Right.
Just maybe it's water, or maybe it's building up an emergency fund.
Right.
Or maybe it's being intentional about your relationships,
Right.
identifying a couple of friends that you would like to be closer to, more intimate with. But just start with one thing.
Right.
We get overwhelmed with wellness because so much of our life feels out of control and not in our control.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe today, if people would just try changing one area or being intentional about one area, it might lead to 2 areas and 3 and 5 and 7 down the road, and
Right.
get that snowball going.
Right. Wonderful. Well, thank you very much. This is definitely been helpful for me. I because I'm one of those people that will get overwhelmed very quickly. About, it's like, I go from nothing to something, right? It's like, and then everything gets out of whack, type of thing. So I heard you loud and clear. One thing, just start with one thing, and then, and I think that will then I will be able, or will be able, to look at other areas once there's a level of wellness in there. So,
Mhm.
well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you can stay, and we can say our goodbyes in the green room while in the show, that would be great.
Great. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, it's been great. Oh wow, I I'm really enjoying these conversations on wellness. Mainly because it takes it out of this, just one way of thinking about it, right? So disconnect from one way of thinking about it, and opens up to, connecting to another way of doing it. But the one thing that I really got from this conversation here today is just one thing. Just look at one area of your life and do an inquiry, and just take a look to see what can I do to bring wellness to this area, and just watch, and see, and just lean into that. I hope this conversation has added value to your day, and to your life, and that you can look at that one area for yourself. You can have conversations like this, and other conversations. I invite you to go to IamWilliamBrown.com and set up for a free complimentary coaching session. And we can have a conversation about wellness, or anything else that is getting in the way of you showing up as yourself. Because the world wants you, the world needs you, and the world is waiting for you. So go be you. Have a great rest of your day.